What's up guys, and welcome back to another video from me. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the basic concept of upgrading your car in Forza Motorsport 6. And if you want to try and get it to be a decent track car, what the sort of things are that you want to upgrade on it, and what you want to make better, and what you want to upgrade engine wise or suspension wise, and whatnot. Now this is a very basic one, so if you know a bit about Forza and you've played a lot of Forza before, you probably already know quite a lot of this. New to it and are looking to get into the tuning side of it. So we'll go into the upgrade shop. The car we're going to be using for this is the BMW 1M. And now with games like this, it is very tempting to just put loads and loads of power in it and just have power and nothing else. If you do that, the car will be probably quite a handful and quite difficult to drive in a track sense or circuit racing sense. So I'm going to run through the steps now that I usually do to get it to a level where it's grippy and you can drive it and you can try and be consistent and stay on track. You can then take the car from there and try messing with a few parts, taking some of the downforce parts off or the handling parts off and adding a bit more power depending on which track you're doing, or how the car is competing either in your career mode or online. Now with the quick upgrade, again, that is very easy option to just choose that and don't share that message, is to just pick one of these and go with it. But what the computer does is it just does everything that I says don't to do. It just adds loads of power and it doesn't really add much handling stuff onto it. So I would just say totally ignore the quick upgrade section. As a rule of thumb, if you're starting out, one of the first things you want to do is go for tyres and rim. Now which class your car ends up in will be dependent on these main factors. So you can see at the start we're on C486, and we're going to add these parts, and then once we've added all the handling parts we want, we're going to see how much PI we've got left to spend on power. So we're focusing on making the car handle as well as possible and then adding the power afterwards. So we'll start off with tyre compound, and the first one we want to be adding is the race tyre. So we'll add the race tyres on, and then we'll go along and do the tyre width. So we'll just add as much as we can, because if the car handles or grips a bit too well and we're a bit slower in the straights, it's easier to take these off than have the car super powerful and not handle very well. Because like I said, if you just want to focus on putting power in the car, then taking power off might feel wrong to you. But if you start with the handling parts, you will end up with a better handling car overall. So that's the tyre compound and the front tyre widths completed. Next thing you want to look at is the platform and handling. So you want to go through and you want to put the race versions on of all of these. So you want to do race brakes, you want to do race springs and dampers, and what this will allow you to do is to adjust all the tuning parts for your car. So you'll be able to affect understeer and oversteer by adding all these race parts on. If you add some of the other ones on, they don't always let you change everything. So add the race ones, you'll be 100% guaranteed to be able to change everything that you need to. Roll cage, we're going to come back to. We're going to leave that for now, and we're going to weight reduction. This is another important one as well. This helps with acceleration, and a lot of the tracks on Forza are acceleration tracks. So if you've got good acceleration, you will do well on track. So we're going to add the race weight reduction, and we will come back. Well, no, we won't come back. We'll do it now. So with the roll cage, you can see we have two options, and what it does is as you add them in, it lowers the PI, because basically what it's doing is it's adding quite a bit more weighting. So 2672 without the roll cage and 2769 with the roll cage. But what it also does is it also affects the lateral G's. So 1.3 and 1.29 to start off with, and if we move that across, those should update 1.31 and 1.29. So we get a slight 60 miles an hour, but we have 97 pounds of extra weight. You can also, it's saving it, I didn't mean to save it. We shall reverse out of this. I do not want to test it. But what you can also do is you can press the toggle button, and you can see the stats there. So handling, if it's green it's getting better, if it's red it's getting worse. So the one that gets worse is acceleration, goes from 7.9 to 7.8, and the other ones go up or are green, which are increasing. They don't actually increase the numbers, so it might be going from 5.1 to 5, but 5.91 to 5.94, so it won't really change it because it only goes to one decimal place. So this is a decision for you. If you want to increase the weight by £97 and also get a slight bit of better handling at lower speed, then add that. If you're unsure, add it anyway, because you can always take it off and you can always substitute it for more power if you need to later on. So that's all the platform and handling ones done. Next one is drivetrain. Now, clutch is totally dependent on what assist you use. If you use automatic or manual, you may want to put clutch on. I use manual with clutch on my assists, so I don't need to do that. It has no impact, and all it does, if you use manual with clutch and you add it on, you end up eating into your PI, so we go to 644 and you won't get any benefit from it at all. So it only really applies to if you're using manual or automatic. So we'll skip past that one. Next one is transmission. You want to put the race transmission on it. That'll allow you to adjust all your gears. Differential, you want to add the race diff on, because you can see there it doesn't really do anything to the PI, it doesn't do anything to weight, power or lateral G's. So it's mainly, it is negative, it doesn't affect it good or bad, but what it does allow you to do is change the differential ratio in the car, which will help with your tuning. We'll come back to driveline shortly. Right, won't forget driveline. Next one is your aero and appearance. So it is quite tempting to go one of these, but the only one that is adjustable is the Forza one. So we're going to go with the Forza one because that allows us to change the downforce on the car. Rear wing. Rear wing again, there is usually only one that is adjustable, and that will be the Forza one. So we shall apply that. And the rear bumper can affect speed. You usually get marginal extra increase in speed, so I usually just go with whichever one looks the best, and as we can upgrade it on this one, we will do. Doesn't change the PI again, so it's fairly negative PI wise. There are some other options you can do now. If you're going to do the conversions, the drivetrain conversion, if you're going to put this BMW from rear wheel drive to four wheel drive, do this first before you do any of the drivetrain things. So do that, or go in, change it to four wheel drive, back out, and then do the drivetrain upgrades. Because if you do it now and then you change it to four wheel drive, when you go back into the drivetrain options, you'll have to do it all again. So make a decision early on if you want it to stick in its natural configuration, or if you want to change it to four wheel drive or rear wheel. So far we haven't touched anything engine wise, and you can see with all the platform and handling upgrades put on that we want to put on, we're at A644. Now I would say do not go any higher than the top of A class. Once you start adding extra power in that takes us over A class, it will become more difficult to drive. So we've added all the handling parts upgrade that we wanted to add. We've got to A644, so we're going to take it to the top of A class, which I believe is 700. So now we'll have a look at what we can actually do. Now what we can do is going to be based on that. So that one we lose 10 horsepower by sticking the V8 engine in. That one takes us straight into S class, so that's going to be a no straight away, and then that one. So the only option we've got here is to put the V8 engine in or leave the stock powertrain in there. Now what we're going to do for this is we're going to leave the powertrain exactly as it is. We're going to leave it with a normal engine in. We're not going to do a drivetrain swap. We're going to keep it rear wheel drive. And then we've got aspiration conversion. Now you will usually get quite a few of these. Historically, the superchargers are better to put on than the turbos. I've found that in many of the past Forzas, the superchargers usually work out to be better. Now we have the option to turbocharge it if we want to, because it keeps us in A class. Takes the handling down, or handling and braking are red, acceleration and speed go up as you would imagine by putting a turbo in. Turbo, you will probably get a bit higher chance of getting wheel spin coming out of corners because it's giving you that turbo early on. So if you're fairly new, I would say stay away from the turbo. Superchargers give you a much smoother integration of the power band, so they're a lot easier to handle. For this one, we're not going to do anything with the turbo, we're going to leave it as it is. So now what we can do is we can go actually to the engine upgrades. Now we have a host of engine upgrades that we can apply. It all depends how much power or how much PI you have left to spend. Now you can see this car is already twin turbo, so what we're effectively doing is changing it from a twin turbo to a single turbo. But we've got the double one on there, and what this will do is the twin turbos, one will work on lower RPMs, one will work on higher RPMs, and hopefully try and level it all out so you don't get a load of power come in all at once. Usually, historically in Forza games, these are the best options to upgrade straight away, because you basically get more bang for your buck. So with this one, we are going to put the twin turbo race version in, get an extra 49 horsepower. And now, next thing I always do is do exhaust. Now with the exhaust, you usually get a lot of speed, and you also get some weight reduction as well. So you get the two things that you want to affect the most: the weight of the car and how much horsepower it's got. We're up to 695, so we shall buy that. So now we've got 5 PI left to spend. Now this is just a matter of going in and seeing which one of these you can add to try and get it as close to 700 as you can. So you can't do any of those. Intercooler wise and oil and cooling, stay away from them, because they add weight onto the car, and the amount of horsepower you get for the amount of weight they add on, it's never beneficial. So unless you're going for a crazy build where you're just putting all the upgrades on, do not touch intercooler, do not touch oil and cooling. We'll just go through the rest of these and see which one we can change. I don't think we'll do camshaft because that will boost it up quite a lot. It usually does a lot of power. Ignition, ignition's out of the question. 707 for that. Now the air upgrade for small PI grains is usually quite good, because we can add these on, and you usually only add that one, only adds 3 on. So if you get within the 3 range, you know pretty much that the air filter is going to be your go-to part, because you'll get it up to 700. So we're at 698. We shall install that. So now we've got 2 PI left to spend, which allows us to look at wheels. Now wheels are good again, because what they do basically is they allow us to lose a fair bit of weight within the car. So all you do is scroll through, keep an eye on which one gets to 700, see how much weight you can lose. It looks like 14 pounds is going to be about the most, and there are a few. See, that one's minus 29 pounds, but it takes us to 701. So it's just a matter of fact of going through and seeing which one of these wheels you actually like the look of the best. For this purpose of this video, I'm just going to go with that one because it takes us to A700. Gives us the stats we have there, so 414 horsepower, 409 pound-foot of torque, 2,744 pounds, so we should be good to go. So we'll select that. So at A700 now, you might think, right, that's it, we don't need to do anything else. But now what we will do is we will go back to the driveline, because sometimes you can sneak these on. See, we're already at A700, but we can add that one on, lose 2.5 pounds, and not actually increase the PI. Same with that one, so we can actually lose a bit more weight and not actually gain any PI. That one we can't do. So even though we're already A700, it's always worth checking these little things just to see if you can add them in. It's better to have them and lose that extra £8 or £8.5 than it is to carry it around. So we shall buy that, and that should be the car complete and tuned. Now hopefully when we take it out on track, it's just going to save it for us now to make sure it's applied to the car when we have a drive round. So we'll take it on Catalunya, because Catalunya is usually the track that I test it on the most. And hopefully this car should be pretty easy to drive from the start. Now if you do drive it and you think this car is really slow in a straight line, what you can do is you can look at the tyres, maybe reduce the tyre width down. I wouldn't say come away from race tyres unless you're more experienced on the side of it. If you're experienced on building and tuning cars, you probably will use sport tyres now and again, lower down the classes. But higher up the classes, you want to have race tyres all the time. So you can look at little parts you can tinker with and what you can change. So we'll take it for a quick lap and see how we get on. Now we haven't done anything tuning wise at all, so we've still got that option to make the car even better than it was before. Just going to move my monitor because that was probably a lot of feedback coming through. So straight away this car is going to be fairly stable through the corners. We've got bags and bags of grip, and I say if you are just joining the Forza franchise and you're just joining it with Forza 6, or you just want some tips on how to start building your own cars and what to look at and what to look for, this is probably a good place to start, because this should help you out give you an understanding of what you need to add to get the most out of your car and to make it the fastest. Because a lot of people just, I've seen it many times online, people just put lots and lots of power into cars, and yes, they do go ridiculously fast in a straight line, but a circuit race is called a circuit race for a reason, because circuit. It isn't all straights, there are lots of bends along the way, so where you lose speed in the straights, you will gain it in the bends. Now this is of course all track specific. Some tracks lend themselves better to having high speed cars than handling cars, so you will be able to tinker it and just change it for different scenarios, and the more you get involved with building your own cars and tuning your own cars, you will find it really helpful, and it will become second nature. You'll know which parts to add, what to go to straight away, and how you can make your car exactly how it is. So I'm not going to cover any tuning stuff in this video. This is just a basic how I build my cars usually, and where my good starting point is, and then I'll go back and just adjust a few things depending on how much power I want from it and how much weight it needs to have, and it's always finding that safe balance between the weight and the power and the handling, to make sure that you get the most out of the car when you're racing online, and hopefully it should give you some good finishing positions, whether it's in your career or online. And there we go, there's the Lapa Catalunya. The car was very easy to drive. I'm going to take that for a blast in multiplayer, and hopefully I can do pretty well in it. But there you go guys, that's the basics of building your own car in Forza. This will work for any car, regardless if it's all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. Follow the same principles and it should serve you pretty well. So thanks for watching guys. If you enjoyed this, feel free to hit the like button or leave me a comment below if I don't get back to you before anybody else does, because a lot of the guys on my channel will help new people out who have questions. Just post that in the comment section below, somebody will help you out, or share and subscribe, and thanks for watching guys, and until my next one, I'll see you all soon.